France's top general Fabien Mandon ignites a political row after warning citizens may face sacrifices if Russia tests NATO. Analysts argue the threat is exaggerated, while Europe watches closely as the U.S. pressures Kyiv on a peace deal. NTD international correspondent David Revez reports from Paris.
France's new chief of defense, General Fabien Mandon, has ignited a major row after urging mayors to prepare citizens for the possibility of future conflict with Russia. His message was blunt. France, he said, must be ready to accept suffering, shift its economy toward defense production, and even face the risk of losing its children if Moscow challenges NATO. Mandon, appointed earlier this year, had already told Parliament that France must be ready within 3 or 4 years for a possible shock involving Russia. But the uproar highlights deep divisions inside France over how real the threat actually is. This reaction follows other measures that have raised public questions, such as the government's plan to distribute a 72-hour survival kit by the end of the year. According to President of Centers for European Studies Rodrigo Ballester, this aligns with previous stances from both France and the EU, which have been warning about the threat Russia poses to Europe.
It's the rhetoric of some countries in the West, notably Macron, for example, Mark Rutte, who is the Secretary General of NATO, that there is a risk of Russian invasion on Western Europe and in Europe in general. I think this is total nonsense. I mean, we can see that the Russians are already struggling in Ukraine. It's shocking to see that France is overplaying the Russian threat. It doesn't make sense, again, to call for these Russian threats, to overplay this Russian threat when actually there are other threats in the European Union that are much more real.
Meanwhile, European leaders are concerned as Washington pressures Kyiv to accept a peace deal requiring the Donbass and major military cuts, which many in the EU view as near capitulation. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said today that the US plan must be made with Ukraine and Europe. President Volodymyr Zelensky warns Ukrainians that the coming days could be one of the most difficult moments since the invasion began. He says he's ready for honest work with the United States, but will not accept terms that undermine Ukraine's dignity, sovereignty, or territorial integrity. David Vives, NTD News, Paris.